We know that legumes, they fix nitrogen in the soil, in addition to other nutrients.
Whereas rice comes from numerous benefits, its propagation and production is a labor-intensive venture and requires a highly skilled workforce during land preparation, planting, and processing to ensure order and to realize maximum productivity. This gap was identified by Bongmin Group Limited, leading to introduction of the agriculture wedge worker model in the rice production under the R4ICSA project.
Bongmin Group, through the agricultural wedge worker model, trains young men whom they recruit into their system. And the way they work is that these young men are trained through a period of 1 to 2 weeks on the several practices. But the difference is that this labor that they are providing is skilled labor. And because of that, the farmers who are clients to Bongmin Group, for whom this youth work, are able to realize good yields on their farms.
What brought us to begin the business of labor supply is the need that we realized from the farmers, because farmers would wish to go in for rice production. Some of them would wish to go in for rice on large scale, but what would limit them majorly was labor. Rice is a tedious crop, more so in management. So we realized if we came up to supply labor to the farmers, very many will be encouraged to grow rice.
Although rice is considered a high-value crop as to the effects of climate change because its fields emit greenhouse gases, methane and carbon dioxide arising from anaerobic respiration. Because production is bound to increase, climate-smart and regenerative agriculture practices.
How to transplant to make it enter the soil.
Because of that, we're going to have improved productivity of the rice crop because the agronomic practices are right. When we talk about fertilizer application, when we talk about chemical application, these are done effectively.
Since they got the skill, they have really changed because someone can get in a week 250,000 a week when he has transplanted the rice.
So all I did is to talk to them, and I contracted them to help me with this rice planting and rice farming. Their work is extraordinary, for sure, because I didn't expect this in Uganda here. Yeah, I didn't totally expect it. Their work is too good. They work as if it's their own, and they want to make sure that at least you get what you want from the garden.
The model that is being promoted for the first time in eastern Uganda is likely to increase rice production in the region. Though still in its pilot phase in Uganda, the project has been able to increase uptake of sustainable rice production practices like efficient use of water and utilization of soil nutrients. Farmers can now practice intermittent flooding of their rice fields and are also rotating the crops with leguminous crops for nutrition, income, and increased soil fertility. The Reduce, Reuse, Recycle Rice Initiative for Climate-Smart Agriculture is a project implemented in Kenya and Uganda with the aim of promoting sustainable rice production practices. In Uganda, the project is being implemented in eastern Uganda as a pilot through Kilimo Trust with funding from IKEA Foundation of the Netherlands. The objective of the project is for stakeholders in the value chain to understand whether the initiatives are sustainable, commercially viable, and also to promote sustainable rice production systems. Anthony Mugambi is the R4ICSA project leader.
This project is aimed at, first of all, ensuring that we have evidence of empirical evidence. Basically, we are supposed to collect empirical evidence and publish it on basically use and reuse and recycling of rice byproducts, particularly the two byproducts of husks and rice straws. So we want to show that those kind of initiatives, first of all, are sustainable, they are commercially viable through empirical evidence. But also secondly, we also want to promote sustainable rice production systems by the various rice value chain actors.
Although rice is considered a high-value crop, it is one of the contributors to the effects of climate change because its fields emit greenhouse gases, methane and carbon dioxide arising from anaerobic respiration. Because production is bound to increase, climate-smart and regenerative agriculture practices are being introduced in the rice value chain by the project, such as recycling rice husks into biochar, mainly used as fuel, and organic fertilizer, or as carbon sink to reduce such effects.
Of course, rice contributes to climate change in a big way, particularly with the increased adoption of rice production. There is a lot of production of greenhouse gases like methane from the rice fields. And one of the ways to promote and also to ensure that we have climate smart production is ensuring that we reduce some of these greenhouse gases, such as methane, carbon dioxide, for instance. For instance, you've seen when we've been moving out to the field, you've seen a lot of some of our partners now using or reusing the rice husks to produce biochar.
Private sector players that embraced the production of biochar since 2019 include Bongmin Group Limited, headed by Mr. Andrew Ebong.
The word biochar means charcoal from waste. Just char is charcoal. So in this case, biochar of rice husk is charcoal made from rice husk. Biochar has a lot of benefits. Number one, biochar, as I said, is a water retainer. It holds water for a longer time. Number two, biochar enhances microbial activities. The microbial activities, in the long run, enhances the soil structure. It improves the soil structure, soil aerations, and so on. Biochar is a buffer, soil pH buffer. When it is, it's towards neutral. When the pH is acidic, put it, bring it towards
recording in progress.
We are promoting what we are calling rice
so it's a pH
legume integration, where we are rotating rice crops with a leguminous crop so that we are able to fix at least 20% of the nitrogen requirements in the field so that we reduce on the use of external nitrogen.
Carbon from the atmosphere as much as possible and fix it into the soil.
The group has so far supplied 6 tons of biochar to New Cafe, a coffee farmers organization, and is still supplying to date. The organization uses biochar to raise coffee seedlings that are given to their members.
There are 2 or 3 activities. One
to
of
promote
them
and
is
reach
that we shall do
biochar, the team has set up demonstration gardens near their production plant so as to monitor performance of the product as well as
we rotate with a legume crop, because we know that legumes they fix nitrogen in the soil in addition to other nutrients.
Whereas rice comes from numerous benefits, its propagation and production is a labor-intensive venture and requires a highly skilled workforce during land preparation, planting, and processing to ensure order and to realize maximum productivity. This gap was identified by Bongmin Group Limited, leading to introduction of the agriculture wedge worker model in the rice production under the R4ICSA project.
Bongmin Group, through the agricultural wage worker model, trains young men whom they recruit into their system. And the way they work is that these young men are trained through a period of 1 to 2 weeks on the several practices. But the difference is that this labor that they are providing is skilled labor. And because of that, the farmers who are clients to Bongomin Group, for whom this youth work, are able to realize good yields on their farms.
What put us to begin the business of labor supply is the need that we realized from the farmers, because farmers would wish to go in for rice production. Some of them would wish to go in for rice on large scale, but what would limit them majorly was labor. Rice is a tedious crop, more so in management. So we realized if we came up to supply labor to the farmers, very many will be encouraged to grow rice.
So the training that they got in transplanting rice is the skills. One, they have to know how many seedlings are they supposed to transplant. Two, they have to know how to separate them. Three,
confidence among potential clients.
Some of our clients may require enriched biochar, but you know, to develop the market, people want to see, then they begin to believe. And we want to champion and see how the enriched biochar will work. And that's why we chose it, that we first use it ourselves as a demonstration for other clients who have been taking biochar as it is, that actually the enriched biochar is much better than the one which is not plain, which is not enriched.
So you take one unit of well-decomposed farmyard manure plus 1 unit of biochar plus 1 unit of soil. Then you ensure that you mix them thoroughly. As you can see, when it is thoroughly mixed, you can utilize it in your garden.
Biochar, whether enriched or not, is an important soil enhancement that promotes crop growth, as explained by Dr. Lawrence Owere, the Director, Buginyanya Zonal Agricultural Research and Development Institute.
So biochar, we have tried it not only in rice, but even with maize. It works, and it even works better if it is, let me say, enriched. Because biochar per se, it will mainly support the biological and probably the physical activities of the soil, but not mainly the chemical. So in that matter, we can enrich it with the required nutrients. We have done it with maize. Now we are going into rice. Instead of just burning the straw or throwing it away, this straw can be used positively to be put back. You make biochar and put it back to supply and augment nutrients in the soil for better rice growth in the following seasons.
In view of his findings as a research scientist, Dr. Lawrence Owere believes the project is on the course to meeting the intended objectives. Apart from biochar, the project is promoting rice legume integration to enhance fertility, but also reduce the use of nitrogen-based fertilizers by 20%, as proven by research.
In terms of reducing the use of external fertilizers, and particularly N or nitrogen-based fertilizers. We are promoting what we are calling rice legume integration, where we are rotating our rice crop with a leguminous crop so that we are able to fix at least 20% of the nitrogen requirements in the field so that we reduce on the use of external nitrogen.
We want to break that cycle of farmers planting rice after rice after rice after rice. Because definitely that will encourage build-up of pests, it will encourage build-up of diseases and nutrient mining from the soil. So through this project, there are 2 or 3 activities. One of them is that we shall do a kind of crop rotational approach, whereby we can be able to break that cycle of rice, and then we rotate with a legume crop. Because we know that legumes, they fix nitrogen in the soil, in addition to other nutrients.
Whereas rice comes from numerous benefits, its propagation and production is a labor-intensive venture and requires a highly skilled workforce during land preparation, planting, and processing to ensure order and to realize maximum productivity. This gap was identified by Bongmin Group Limited, leading to introduction of the agriculture wedge worker model in the rice production under the R4ICSA project.
What brought us to begin the business of labor supply is the need that we realized from the farmers, because farmers would wish to go in for rice production. Some of them would wish to go in for rice on large scale, but what would limit them majorly was labor. Rice is a tedious crop, more so in management. So we realized if we came up to supply labor to the farmers, very many will be encouraged to grow rice.
So the training that they got in transplanting rice is the skills. One, they have to know how many seedlings are they supposed to transplant. 2, they have to know how to separate them. 3, they have to know how to transplant, to make it enter the soil. Since they got the skill, they have really changed, because someone can get in a week 250,000 a week when he has transplanted the rice.
So all I did is to talk to them, and I contracted them to help me with this rice planting and rice farming. Their work is extraordinary, for sure, because I didn't expect this in Uganda here. Yeah, I didn't totally expect it. Their work is too good. They work as if it's their own, and they want to make sure that at least you get what you want from the garden.
The model that is being promoted for the first time in eastern Uganda is likely to increase rice production in the region. Though still in its pilot phase in Uganda, the project has been able to increase uptake of sustainable rice production practices like efficient use of water and utilization of soil nutrients. Farmers can now practice intermittent flooding of their rice fields and are also rotating the crops.
Hello friends, we are into our 22nd minute. I think more, we even close to 30 minutes. Let's take our chairs, let's take our seats so that the next session can begin. In the afternoon there will be pressure of time, so let's try to use it well. Otherwise then we'll go back to our hotels at 8. Not a threat, but I saw in the I saw in the Kisumu event. Yes, so I think many of us are still out. Those guys who are still out, please let's get in. Come with our teas. We can carry our coffee, our snacks. Okay, so we want to go into the next session. We want to go into the next session, and we'll do a small change in our program. Our colleague and team member from ICARE Foundation is ready to join us at this stage, so we'll do a slide change and then give him a chance before I can return the program to the consulting team. So at this point in time, the video crew and Paul, please set the stage. whether we can allow Nico to take the floor. Then after Nico, as Dr. Karanja and Rita takes us into the group discussion, we'll allow two speakers, each to take 3.5, 4, 5 minutes to speak to some of these results. Because we know some of us who are here, we are listening about these stories for the first time. I will want to have some little background on what you've been doing that will help you engage more meaningfully in the group discussion. So let's allow now Nico to take the floor. Yes. So that he can speak to us and listen, and it's also part of the things that will help us in the group discussion. Most welcome, Nico.
Yes, hi, good morning, everyone. And apologies that I have to be with you on a connection like this. I would have loved to have come over to Uganda, but unfortunately, that's not possible yet. As introduced, my name is Nico Janssen. I'm the program manager from IKEA Foundation, working with Kilimo Trust and indirectly with all of you to see how we can make the rice value chain more climate resilient, provide better livelihoods, better incomes for farmers, for enterprises, and how we can introduce the right kind of innovations that can make that happen. I'm happy to see, seeing all of you now, such a big crowd and such an interest in this project. We started this project as a sort of pilot project nearly 2 years ago, and are looking forward to learn together with you and from all of you what you believe in, what can work for you, what you feel confident in, so that when we continue with a project like this, is to really serve what you think can be done to improve the situation of farming households, of people working in the rice value chain, to take care of the environment they work in, and to take care of their families and their households that they are responsible for. So that is for the whole of IKEA Foundation an important part of work. We are working in East Africa in 4 countries, among Uganda, also in Ethiopia and Kenya and in Rwanda. And as you know, there is a sister project to the Kilimo project in Kenya as well. So yeah, where we try with a number of partners to look how can we make agriculture more prepared for the future, to be more resilient to the effect climate change is bringing us, but also how can it deliver better incomes and better livelihoods to small-scale farmers. Because in too many cases, unfortunately, small-scale farmers are still confronted with poverty and are feeling the pressure of a changing climate. So that's that. We are there with you. We are there for you. And don't want to hold up your workshop, your important learning event, too much. So wish you all a very pleasant 2 days together that are hopefully inspiring and learning and can bring lots of smiles behind the masks also. And I hope that we can see each other soon in real life, in the field again, to talk about the opportunities that you see and you feel are there for the rice value chain in Uganda. So thank you very much and enjoy your time.
Good. Thanks very much, Nico. Thanks for those kind words, and we're looking forward also to learn from this interaction with our partners. Thank you very much. So we now go to the next session, and we'll request, as Karaja comes in, that Paul shares what Pongomin will be presenting, and I want to welcome Andrew Pong to take the floor. Andrew, are you there? Oh, very good. My namesake. And also a brother-in-law, no?
Don't bring that topic. Okay, I hope it's still morning or is already afternoon. Yes, good morning, everybody. I am humbled to be in front of you to share with you what we have been doing as a company and what we do as with Kilimo Trust. It's just about to share it. We know there are very top brains here, and those top brains are going to help us refine our business case very well and prosper. We want to be like, not like Kilimo Trust, but we want in future to be like ICare funding to this kind of gathering. Yeah, that is the big ambition we have. As we wait for my presentation to be shared, just let me give you a bit of background of Bongomin Group. Bongomin Group Limited is largely a value chain service provider company, active in the value chain of rice, value chain of horticultural crops, and the value chain of maize. We are not yet very active in maize, but if you rank the three value chain, we started with rice value chain. We started this company in 2015, largely to do with seed productions and provide seed solution, good seed solution to our farmers. Along the way, as we are producing the seed, we found that there are much more problems than the seed as far as rice is concerned. The first problem was with the labor requirement, both in terms of their skills and also in terms of their reliability. So what did we do in 2015? The first thing we did was to introduce mechanization services in land preparations, in weeding, and in harvesting. For those who are familiar with the rice value chain, those are really areas where rice need a lot of labor, and not only labor, but skilled labor. Then we little bit diversify from those because we realized that rice provision of mechanization alone is not a solution to the whole thing. Because there are places where machine can reach, and there are places where machine cannot reach in the paddy field. There are conditions that permit a particular machine to work, and there are conditions that do not permit that same machine to work. So we integrated the labor services, and we call it Bongomin Group Wage Workers Intervention Model. I'm talking randomly as I wait for my presentation to come. So why did we come with this? As we are interacting with farmers, with development partners, with researchers, we found that there were basically three reasons why certain desirable design, well-designed, desirable interventions do not really reap that results that we expect. And according to our own analysis, we found that there were basically three reasons why it is so. The first reason was that most of the farmers that the intervention has been designed for, they're a little bit poor. They don't have money to buy both the technology and also the practice. I want to stress this point. If Dr. Uwere can buy fertilizer, but cannot hire Anthony Mugambi to apply fertilizer appropriately, then the results will be fake, genuine fertilizer, fake practice is equal to fake what? Results. So in that case, most farmers will blame that what? They bought fake fertilizer. They do not know that actually they also practice fake practice. They did not put fertilizer appropriately. Is it coming? Okay. So, second reason is that the farmers that can afford both the practice and the technology do not have time to supervise, to make sure that those practice and the technologies are appropriately what? Applied and work. Because, you know, sometimes it's not about the skill. Some people need to be pushed from that behind in order to apply that skill well. So, still, the results do not come. The person who can afford the practice and the technology get discouraged and pull out of the value chain, weakening further the value chain, the way the value chain will perform. Third reasons why those desirable outcomes do not come immediately is that those who are actually doing the actual work, for this case we have been seeing in a video, those who are transplanting, those who are going to apply the fertilizer, those who are going to carbonize the straw, the husk, those who are going to apply that biochar, maybe be it in a